What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. For today's video, we're going to be ranking from worst to best every single Transformers Studio Series figure to be released in 2023. And what a massive year it was for the line. Not only did we finally see the release of the summer blockbuster, Transformers Rise of the Beasts, but for the very first time in well over 10 years, the return of the iconic War for Cybertron designs in the form of this brand new Gamer Edition subline. Alongside some of those releases was also the line's very first Commander class, so I think it's safe to say that 2023 was an absolute beast for Studio Series. So let's now get cracking with the ranking. And in spot number 20, I'm giving this to every single core class. Now, due to their scale and price point, personally, I don't like to compare nor stack them up against some of the more expensive releases. So here, I will just give all of them a huge honorable mention. If I were to, however, pick a favorite, it would definitely have to go to Noah Diaz's Exosuit. A banging little figure with some great articulation and even detachable jet mode kibble so that we can better match his appearance in the movie. For spot number 19, without any hesitation at all, I'm giving this to the Gamer Edition Barricade. Easily one of, if not the worst Studio Series figure to be released in the last couple of years. The robot mode is a brick. He articulates like a plank. He has a decent size to him, but due to the lack of any heel spurs, posing is pretty much pointless, which is why, without any doubt, he has ended up as being one of the worst figures to be released in 2023. For spot number 18, I'm giving this to the buzzworthy Bumblebee, Ironhide and Proud 2-pack. Now, I actually quite like this one, especially Ironhide. I think that recolored van mode looks sick, but these are basically repaints based on a very brief yet iconic scene from the 86 movie where the Autobots get brutally wiped out. So I know for many collectors, this is not really how you want these characters represented in your collections, although at the moment, this is the most affordable way to pick up Prowl without paying those ridiculous scalper prices for the original Earthrise set. For spot number 17, I am giving this to the War for Cybertron Megatron. Now, I imagine this will be quite a controversial pick for many, and I can definitely see the argument there. But for someone who has owned that original 2010 Deluxe, I was expecting so much more, especially with the increase from Deluxe to Voyager and modern engineering. This figure is way smaller than I would have imagined, limited knee articulation, the fusion cannon is pretty much pathetic, the tank mode as well, I don't think looks too great. It lacks some of those really cool features that were seen on the original Deluxe version, such as the ability to turn it from a hover tank into an actual rolling one. In spot number 16, I'm giving this to Autobot Mirage, and it's a shame to see such an amazing character receive one of the most compromised deluxe releases out of the entire Rise of the Beast subline. The details are good and are definitely a mocked upgrade compared to the mainline, but the functionality and the playability are all restricted due to the clear plastic parts and the incredibly cluttered design. The Porsche mode though is sick and is by far one of the best looking alt modes that we've so far seen for the Studio Series. Hopefully we can see this character reapproached in the future, maybe as the Formula 1 or even the Lambo design. In spot number 15, I'm giving this to Maximal Airraiser. Now, she's ranked lower, not because she's a bad figure, because I don't think she is at all. She's actually pretty great, but compared to her final movie design, she's unfortunately way off. Although, with the concept art series now being a thing, I guess technically she's not pointless, as we do see this design featured in a deleted scene that originally was meant to end up in the Rise of the Beast movie. Taking spot number 14, I am giving this to Nightbird. Similarly to Mirage, the figure's robot design is compromised, probably due to the licensed vehicle mode, but again, she's not terrible. The details are definitely a step up compared to the mainline, but due to some of the extra car bits on her bot mode, it can definitely make posing quite a bit of a chore. The vehicle mode is sick though. It was wicked to see an actual skyline in the movie, although it wasn't utilised nowhere near as much as I was hoping. In spot number 13, I'm giving this to both War for Cybertron Bumblebee and Cliffjumper. Now these take joint place as they're basically the same mold with a brand new head. A decent update I think compared to the original. Robot mode mostly looks good and the articulation is definitely an improvement over the original 2010 Deluxe, but the transformation can be so frustrating, especially with the Cliffjumper mold. The backpack very rarely stays on during the conversion, which at times can be super frustrating. The alt mode though I have barely any issues with. I think it looks sick. In spot number 12, I'm giving this to the Studio Series 86 Ratchet. A fantastic repaint of what is easily one of the best 86 molds so far released. It's wicked to finally see a mainline, easy-ish to find Ratchet after years of pretty much impossible exclusivity. The only reason why he's not featured higher on this list is because he is mostly just a straight up repaint, and unfortunately, unlike some of the other 86 figures on this list, they never decked him out with any solid pieces. So instead, he's still using some of those translucent components, which once you check him out in the ambulance mode, again causes for some mismatched pieces. For spot number 11, I'm giving this to the Studio Series 86 Brawn. Honestly, very little to complain about with this one. All round, a solid figure of a character which sadly lasted no more than 5 seconds in the movie. It is though a wicked representation of the OG 80s character design. Great sculpt, amazing paint, truck mode looks dope. I really like how they finally cel shaded some of the windows for a way more animated, accurate look. So, for spot number 10, we are now at the halfway point. I am giving this to Maximal Cheetor. A drastic retake on the OG Beast Wars design, but yet a pretty faithful adaptation from live action into action figure. Very articulated robot mode and a pretty sweet looking beast mode. My only real issues are the colours are a lot darker than how I remember them being in the movie, and the lack of any proper articulation in the beast mode. In spot number 9, we have the War for Cybertron Optimus Prime. Hands down one of the best Gamer Edition updates to so far be released. A great update from the Deluxe to the Voyager, way chunkier as seen in the video game, and is finally fully packed out with his primary on-screen weaponry. A nice added touch would be the Matrix of Leadership, which if my memory serves me correctly, we only saw very briefly in one cutscene, so that's sick. My only real issues are the back of the truck mode having the huge fists basically just chilling, but this is something which I imagine will be easily fixed with the release of the upcoming DNA Design upgrade kit. In spot number 8, we have Rhinox. Again, very little complaints with this one. I think one of the best Maximals to so far be released. Fantastic robot mode with some wicked battle damage details, decent mass, paint could maybe be a little better, you know, perhaps they could have had some green weathering, and the sledgehammer I definitely think could have been a little bigger. But to be fair, we very briefly saw it in the movie anyway. The Rhino mode though is pretty sick, very well articulated for what is undeniably one of the chunkiest Maximals to so far be released. In spot number 7, I'm giving this to Battle Trap. I think easily one of the best Rise of the Beast figures to so far be released, especially as he was one of the first. The details are mostly spot on to what we ended up seeing on screen. He maybe could have included his Gatling gun, as I think we saw that just as much, if not maybe more than the mace. The truck mode is definitely decent, although could have had a way cleaner back bed, but definitely not bad by any means. In spot number 6, I'm giving this to Leader Class Scourge. Easily one of my favourite figures to be released in 2023. I know there are quite a few inaccuracies compared to what we finally saw in the movie, but I mostly think Hasbro did a good job, especially for this being basically a first pass at this design. He just looks mean, and the articulation is super dynamic. He could do with some bulking, especially when it comes to the legs, but that's something I think DNA Design is going to fix with no problem at all. The truck mode mostly looks sick, and I love all of the faction insignias engraved into the front grille. The only part where I think this figure kind of falls apart would again be the rear of the truck, but again, it's not super terrible. Now down to the final 5, and taking 5th place would be given to the Studio Series 86 Dinobot Snarl. This is the second to last on-screen Dinobot that we needed to really round off the OG crew, and at the moment I think it's easily one of the best. When it comes to these Dinobots, it's like Hasbro pours all of their heart and soul into them to give us basically mini masterpieces. A fantastic size, mostly filled in and detailed front side to back. The Dino mode is cool too, although mine is left with this really annoying split basically right down the middle of his head, which no matter how hard I push, just doesn't really seem to stay tabbed in. In spot number 4, I'm giving this to Ultra Magnus, the first ever Commander class to be released for the Studio Series, which just by itself opens up an entire possibility of larger characters which maybe we could see in the future. This Magnus packs a great size, an inbuilt spring-loaded matrix of leadership, and the ability to be dismembered to match his very brief death in the movie. The car carrier though is clearly why this Magnus was bumped up to Commander. The figure stays in one piece throughout the entire transformation process, despite being able to be split into 2 separate components once fully formed. Overall, a terrific figure with really only a few minor complaints to hold it down. Roll on the Commander Class 86 Optimus Prime. In spot number 3, I'm giving this to Optimus Primal. Simply the best transforming version of this design that we've so far seen. The beast mode details are sick, especially when you get up close to that amazing head sculpt. The articulation for both modes could maybe be slightly better, especially considering the price point, and it would have been nice to have seen the feet of either mode cleaned up just a little better, but stacked up against even the non-transforming YOLO Park kit, Primal just looks so damn accurate. He is though a little small for the price point, and although they kind of make up for that with the extra DLC accessories, I can't help but wish that budget had maybe gone into the engineering stage just a bit more. And taking the runner-up place in spot number 2 is the Rise of the Beast Deluxe Class Bumblebee. Making yet another huge comeback for the 7th live-action movie, I think Hasbro may have just delivered one of the best-looking bees that we've seen in a long time. Wicked robot mode, decent articulation, accessories are cool, you know, they even included one which we never saw featured in the Rise of the Beast movie. The plastic quality is a huge step up compared to some of the past entries, and the Camaro mode is mostly spot on. They even listened to the fan demand and gave us some proper clear plastic inserts for the windows to prevent any of that ugly paint mismatch that we've been seeing in recent years. And taking first place in spot number 1 is the Rise of the Beasts Optimus Prime. Once again, showing the true power of a Prime was this absolute beast of a Voyager class. A fantastic update to the already terrific Bumblebee movie Optimus Prime. This Prime is way more refined design-wise, features articulation which we very rarely tend to see on a mainline release, and all round just looks the part. The only issues that I have would have to be the untidy truck bed, which I imagine, along with the very puny arm cannon, will receive some huge upgrades once DNA Designs DK44 releases, and the exclusivity. This figure is such a pain to get, he pretty much sold out instantly, and for the main character of a big live action film, I would hope to see this reissued in the near future. And that's a wrap for the end of year Transformers Studio Series 2023 ranking video. I want to say a massive thank you to everybody for checking this video out, to those of you who have been keeping up to date throughout 2023 on all of my latest Studio Series reviews. I cannot wait to give you guys more reviews in 2024. I would love to hear your thoughts on this video down in the comment section below. Do you guys agree with my ranking? Are there any characters which maybe you would place higher or lower than each other? And until my next video, transform and roll out!